This is before Helmut Lang did it with the taxi drivers. This was just her and I, 2 cameras, a work light, and a bag of Bohemian Society walking down the street, fucking asking hookers to work with us. Oh, hello. I'm Victor Wilde. And I want to tell you a little story about my night in Paris. It was about, I'd say, 2 years ago. I was there for my birthday. I'd never been to Paris. And I'm like, hey, fashion designer guy, what are you doing not being in Paris? Right? So you got to do it. In Paris. And I was there for 2 weeks, bouncing around. I was with my friend Payam from the Bay. And we noticed this tiny little street off of Rue Saint-Denis, Rue Blondel. And there were all these doorways with all these women standing in these doorways. And these women had to be 50s, 60s, ratty coats with giant tits hanging out. And I'm going, wow, what the fuck? Who are these women? Like, what would it be like to talk to them? So sure enough, I get an opportunity to be in Paris Fashion Week, which turned out to be shit, but I did it just to try it out. And so here I am, bringing stuff back to Paris, bringing clothing, and I'm in Paris for a month. Try to go through the usual contacts. I try to ask some friends, because you figure someone in Paris knows prostitutes, right? There's got to be somebody. I mean, you would think somebody you would know. But anyway, nobody came through. Everybody flaked out. So I got this photographer who I had met back on my first trip to Paris, who had the ovaries to come down on the street with me. And like I said, this was before Helmut Lang did it, the taxi driver thing. This was just pure, raw, guerrilla, get out there, take 2 cameras and a work light and a woman you just hardly know who's a photographer. And you go down to Rue Blondel and you start at the beginning of the street and you just go down the line and you ask every single woman you see until you get an answer of yes. And of course, everyone said no. Every single one. And we're on the last woman that we saw on the street. And as she's saying no and I'm feeling defeated, and a woman walks by and she goes, in French, she says something and they're all speaking together, and suddenly I'm in the back alley of Rue Saint-Denis trying clothing on this woman who I met seconds before. Clouds are starting to form, but she's trying on the clothes, and we got off like, I think 2 looks like right away. She loves the clothes. Clouds are starting to form, so she takes us back in this back alley where there's some shelter. So suddenly we're in the back alley of Rue Saint-Denis. And the woman who we had just met seconds ago was trying on the clothes, and she's loving it, and it's like almost starting to rain. So she goes, wait a minute, come with me. She takes us to this back alley where I don't want to know exactly what was going on there seconds before. Another young woman meets us down the stairs, and she's trying on the clothes. And the 4 of us are in the back alley, like this dark alley, trying on Bohemian Society, shooting in the light, the small like cavern of light coming through this alleyway. And by then we had gathered a crew of the women that had said no, that were watching us. And suddenly we're in her boudoir, and like I'm sitting on her bed, probably seconds before like, you know, where somebody was getting a blowjob or something. There's like condoms and shit everywhere, mirrors. It was a bed and mirrors and a red light, and basically that was it. But also I was so elated because I couldn't believe that this was actually fucking happening. I was actually sitting on a prostitute's bed who had freely and openly invited me into her house and let us shoot for about 45 minutes while her Johns were waiting in the alley for her, banging on the door. She's fending them off. It's all love, it's all hugs, it's all bisous. There was no money. There was no like sexual, sex, anything. They were just so happy to do it. And I was so happy to be there. And everyone, the photographer was so happy to be shooting. It was such a beautiful, beautiful moment in my life. And we finished the shoot, and we're still friends on Facebook. The woman who introduced us, Marie, thank you very much for that, for introducing me to those women. And this project is an ongoing thing. I want to do this all over the world, where I just take Bohemian Society and just like renegade, guerrilla, go out on the street and ask people randomly, hey, can we do this? And see what happens and see if we can make that magic, as I know we can, because I almost felt we didn't, but we did. And the culmination of this would be to close down Rue Blondel and have a fashion show on that street where the women of Rue Blondel actually come out to get them to agree to do it and come out of their little doorways and walk the streets like in Bohemian Society. And I do a capsule collection called Women of Blondel that would just be for these women, and we'd fucking document the fuck out of it. And that's the idea, guys. That's it, kids. And just want to say thanks for listening. I'm Victor Wilde, and peace out, motherfuckers.